So today we're going to be doing a combined 11 of Argentina and Brazil players. The only rules that we must follow is that we're going to do a 4-3-3 formation. We're going to select a starting 11. We're going to select a coach. And we're even going to select a stadium for this makeshift team to play in. We're not doing the legends here. We're doing current active players. We're going to look at the lineups that they have right now out during the Goalkeeper qualifiers, and we're going to go based off of that.
Before we get into it, I do just want to say, bro, this was so fun to do. Like when yesterday I was just doing the research, going through my 11 that I would do between Argentina and Brazil, dude, I was just smiling the entire time. Yeah. The talent pool of both separately is already ridiculous. You mix the two and my God, like you have the world at your fingertips, bro, the world.
That's why I was hoping we'd do England, France, bro. And I think it'd be just as fun too.
It would be just as fun, bro. The talent that some countries possesses absolutely ridiculous.
We're going to start all the way at back.
Let's go, baby.
I have one option and one option only, and that's Liverpool's Alisson. I think right now, in my opinion, he is the best goalkeeper in the world with the way he has been playing for Liverpool in the Premier League. Translate that over to the international stage, and he is incredible as well. It's crazy, not really getting the start right now over Ederson, who's gotten both starts in the Goalkeeper qualifiers so far. And on the other side, you have Emi Martinez, who is such a strong character and leader, honestly, for that Argentinian side. But when I just look at skill, when I look at what each keeper can do and what they can offer with both their feet and their hands and the security that's offered at the back, despite Martinez's mind games that he's so good at, despite Ederson's versatility, I still think it's Alisson all day when I'm looking at all three of these options.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with you here. I'm going Alisson Becker as my starting goalkeeper. But what's crazy is that Brazil have a highly competitive goalkeeping situation in general. And they have had that for the last 6 years. It's between Alisson and Ederson. Historically, it's been Alisson as the starting goalkeeper. As you said, Diniz might start rotating them a bit more. Kind of makes sense given that Ederson's accumulating a lot of accolades with one of the best teams in the world at Manchester City. But I still think Alisson is the better goalkeeper, the better shot stopper. He changed Liverpool's trajectory from, a mid-table team at the time to winning Premier Leagues, winning Champions Leagues. He was a big component to that for Liverpool. And what's crazy is that, what got Alisson the starting job for Brazil was, I just think a year difference in age, man. He moved to the Premier League a year before Ederson did.
Really?
Yes.
I always had the idea that he came after.
He came before.
Whoa.
Yeah. In 2016, Ederson came in 2017.
Wow. And
I think it was that move a year before Ederson is what got him the starting job for the last basically 6-7 years. So I'm going Alisson. Most Brazilian coaches are going with Alisson. And I want to make this very clear, though. No disrespect to World Cup winner Emi Martinez. I want to make that very clear. But if you're forcing my hand here to pick between the two keepers, I'm definitely going Alisson just because of the tenure of his career, man. He's been better longer. Martinez is an insane goalkeeper, as you said. He employs mind tricks, but he's also very good at shot stopping. But I just think Alisson has done a little bit better for longer. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go Alisson as my starting goalkeeper.
So then just for a fun thought exercise here, since we both agreed, how would you rank these three keepers? Would it be Alisson, Ederson, Martinez, or does Martinez get over Ederson by any chance?
Once again, no disrespect.
I got to do that a lot this episode, bro.
World Cup winner Emi Martinez. But I'm going Alisson 1, Ederson 2, and then Emi Martinez 3. Yeah.
Just for the sake of showing some Argentinian love, I think I'm going to put Emi above because of that added factor of just his ability to talk shit, to get in an opponent's head. I don't think Ederson can do that, so I'm actually going to put Ederson third. A little bit of a hot take, but that's where I'm going to go with this one.
And shout out Weverton. I just want to put that out there.
Moving forward to the defensive line, let's key in here on the fullbacks, a position that for Brazil specifically has been criticized for the past couple of years with their honestly drop in quality in their fullback position in comparison to what they have at center back. And we saw that play against them at the World Cup. It was a concern, and it did end up being something that was realized was their lack of quality in those positions. So I'm interested to hear from you. Does Argentina have enough quality in the fullback position to override these Brazilian players? Let's start at the left back slot with options like Tagliafico, World Cup winner Tagliafico. Renan Lodi gets the starts for Brazil. Or could it be a young, up-and-coming player playing for your very own Atletico Madrid, Samuelino, that could get a nod here?
Yeah, we did highlight before the World Cup for Brazil that they don't really have good fullbacks. They really don't. I mean, right now for Brazil, it's between Renan Lodi and Danilo, an aging Danilo. And honestly, Lodi's only getting the spot because no other Brazilian fullback is really that good.
It's crazy.
It's pretty nuts, man. So the iconic Brazilian fullback is dead at the moment, man.
So.
And for that reason, I'm going with one of the most sound left backs in world football right now, Nicolas Tagliafico.
You have to.
You have to. He's so good going forward. Not that he's necessarily offensive or that he has a lot of pace, but he's just very smart up there. Makes the right pass, can make good penetrative passes, can get the ball into the box, but then he's also very good defensively. So he's a very well-rounded fullback, and right now I just think he's better than any Brazilian fullback right now. If you looked at Diniz' selection for the upcoming qualifiers, he's trying new Inter Milan loanee Carlos Augusto. You know, and that'll be interesting to see. Like, he's trying to get creative here because there's just not that much options for Brazil at the left back position. I think Tagliafico takes this one easy for me.
Easy, which is crazy, man, because like you said, long gone are the days of Dani Alves, Felipe Luis, stars in those fullback positions. They're long gone, man. Brazil is in a drought right now when it comes to this position. And instead, Argentina, despite maybe not on the individual level being that great, what Tagliafico offers, I think, is so special because he represents a lot of what matters in this Argentina squad, which is chemistry, knowing how to play your role. He has a very specific role he plays, and it's not one that's very flashy. It's not one that shines a lot, but it's one that's needed. And it showed, bro. It's the reason why they were able to work so well as a team in Qatar 2022 was because of guys like Tagliafico. So I agree with you completely. I'm putting him in that left back slot. On the other side, you have a similar situation, honestly, bro. Similar situation. I don't think a Brazilian comes out on top here. You have Nahuel Molina, who has been starting for Argentina nonstop in that right back slot. And on the other side for Brazil, usually it's Danilo who gets a start there. Overall, I think it's a very similar argument here. I think Molina plays a very important role for Argentina. And I think his level of success at the international level also translates to the club level with Atletico Madrid, playing a very good role there. So for me, it's also an easy pick. I'm going Molina.
Super easy, dude. At the World Cup, Chicho is playing Militao as a right back. That's how dire the situation is for Brazil. Right now, Diniz is going to try Girona's Jan Couto as an option. Maybe he can do something for Brazil and get a little bit more offensive and creative. So, yeah, this one's once again very easy for me. It's Nahuel Molina, who has popped off for Argentina since the 2022 World Cup. And as you already said, for Atletico, he's just getting better and better and better. His offensive efficiency has improved greatly over the last 12 months. And honestly, I don't see it really stopping, bro. Like, he's actually becoming a very good offensive weapon for both Argentina and Atletico Madrid. Low-key might be one of the best Argentine right backs ever. Like, they've had some really feisty ones, you know, like Acuna as of recently, but I think Molina is so much better. He's so much more efficient, and then he's also very physical, loves to get in those one-on-one battles, pretty strong, has a nice high stature, so he's completely down to get in battles into the box. So I think Nahuel Molina does both ends very, very well. This one's easy. Nahuel Molina is my right back.
And who could forget his clinical, important goal against the Netherlands in the quarterfinals, fed through by Messi, and a really nice, calculated finish. Nahuel Molina gets the pick here. And so now here is where it gets very interesting, in my opinion. The center back position. There's a lot of names here. I'm just going to list these off so the people have an idea what we're dealing with here. You have Nicolás Otamendi. You have Romero, Cristian Romero. Gabriel, Marquinhos, Militao when he's healthy. Lisandro Martinez when he's healthy. Thiago Silva as well. I think this one is going to spark up a good amount of debate. We're going to have to make some negotiations here to figure out what we go with. But there's only one player here that I absolutely need to be starting in this lineup as of today in this moment. And I hope you can agree with me. And then we can discuss who gets slotted next up to him. But for me, I have Cristian Romero being the immediate pick due to his success with Tottenham right now, top of the league in the Prem and scoring goals as well. And then at the international level, having won the World Cup with Argentina, having done so well alongside what I would consider a bit of a liability at times in Otamendi. striving to become Argentina's next best center back. He seems to be the guy slated for that role in that position. I want Cristian Romero to be starting at center back for this makeshift team that we're doing, and I hope you can agree with me here, bro.
For me, in that position, it came down between Cristian Romero and Gabriel. Tottenham versus Arsenal is what this came down to for me. And I actually went Arsenal in this situation, bro. I don't have Romero in my starting center backs. I have Gabriel. And it is for only the reason that Arsenal's defense has gotten significantly better since Gabriel joined Arsenal a couple years ago. And he's been the mainstay. He's pocketed Erling Haaland at times. The thing is, you can absolutely say the same thing about Guti. You absolutely could. Once he joined Tottenham, Tottenham's defense got a lot better. His one-on-one defending is impeccable. Very big unit at the back. But my only argument for Gabriel is that he's done it at the highest level for Arsenal a little bit longer. That's the only reason why I'm giving it to Gabriel. Romero, while he has been playing for Tottenham had a weird season last year. Romero was a part of that. Arsenal had an incredible season last year, and they're having a very good season this year as well. So I can't knock that on Gabriel's part. I really can't. Now, the counter argument is that Romero won the World Cup, right? And as you said, he covered Otamendi's back 100%. If I'm coach of this team and I'm picking my 11, I'm looking at what I'm seeing right now in this very moment, and I'm going Gabriel.
Yeah, if it's that close between these two guys, then why don't we make them both center backs here? Why do we have to consider these other options if we got old heads, basically? Otamendi and Silva, and then Martinez and Militao, who are injured, and then Marquinhos, who I wanted to put in the center back combo, but that stinker of a performance he put up against Newcastle the other week has me completely downing him right now in this moment. Mm-hmm. It's actually funny because I wanted Romero, but then my second option for who he gets paired alongside, though it may not be a natural fit, is Gabriel. Mm-hmm. Why not just agree on that then?
That's a good argument.
I mean, who else?
I was gonna put Marquinhos as my veteran center back because I do think you need one, because Thiago Silva was that for Brazil for the longest time. I think Marquinhos is becoming that for Brazil. Marquinhos is what, 29? He's going to be the starting center back for Brazil for the next 8 years because he has taken on that role to be the veteran at the back. And while he has had some weird performances as of late, I do think I need a veteran in this back line. And if I have Tagliafico, Molina, and Gabriel in that lineup, I think I need Marquinhos. I think I do.
I think I need Romero.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
But we can go Romero over Marquinhos then. We can find a solution there.
You could find that solution. I just don't know if I can agree.
We're trying to employ a new philosophy here, man. We really are, because I understand it is important to have that veteran leadership. I think Romero is low-key that, though. Having won the World Cup, he can be that veteran presence for Gabriel. I really have lost my faith in Marquinhos a little bit, man, because I was so big on him last year, and the performances I've seen him, though they've been very solid, I don't think he gets tested enough on a week-to-week basis in the French league. And when it comes to the international level, he can get caught off guard at times. And same thing happens in the Champions League as well. PSG has not been successful in the Champions League. And just like you mentioned, Tottenham not being successful last year, and part of that being Cristian Romero, I do think part of that Champions League failure is Marquinhos, because he gets caught off at times. So I'd rather want to go with Romero here and pair him up alongside Gabriel, get a London partnership going.
I want Brazilian center backs because Brazil have always had better defense than Argentina over the last 4 years. They always have. Even at this past World Cup, for the first 5 games that both Argentina and Brazil played, Brazil conceded 2 fewer goals. And they had a better better defensive rate just in World Cup qualifying. I think I have to back that Brazilian center back defense. Argentina leaks a little, not that they leak a lot, but they leak a little bit more than the Brazilians. So for that reason, I have to have 2 Brazilians at the back. I can't change it.
I can't do 2. I can give you 1. I can't change How about this? Romero and Thiago Silva. You got your veteran leader.
Silva's retiring, man.
You got your veteran leader.
Retiring. I can't.
A year before he's on the cane, bro. Let's get him there. You got your Brazilian. You're the best Argentine defender right now. I understand the remarks you're making, but that argument, that understanding that they were able to lift the World Cup, I think matters, man. I think it really does, because ultimately what did it take for France to get into that match? They needed two penalties that were, one was caught by Otamendi, the other one I think was a handball. So they do leak at times, but there's a weird formidability that they have that I think is led and guided by Romero more than any other player in this Argentine back line, both center back and fullback wise.
I think Romero is the best defender for Argentina. I'm not doubting that.
For sure.
I'm not doubting that.
But I think that means a lot more to me than a really good, really solid Brazilian like Gabriel, or a guy like a guy like Marquinhos for sure. In my opinion.
Right. I think Brazil's central defense would have not let France get as many opportunities.
Get back in the game.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. But I got to get something back in that midfield, bro. We'll see if we have some trouble here.
We'll see.
We'll go Gabriel Marquinhos then. In the midfield, let's keep this rolling. Let's be straight up. Give me your three midfielders.
For me, it's pretty straightforward. You can argue a lot here, but I do think there are three standouts, if you will. And so in my attacking midfield, right in that central position, I have Neymar, the number 10, which will be interesting. But
this will be really interesting.
Positionally, the number 10. I'd rather have somebody else out on the left wing, and we can talk about that later. Neymar's getting a little bit older, but he still has insane craft, insane ability on the ball. It's where he thrives, I think, a little bit better for Brazil, honestly. And I think he could really thrive in this combined 11 team here in that position. And then right underneath him, I would have Bruno Guimaraes as my other central midfielder. A little bit more defensive. I'm going to go Rodrigo de Paul, actually. I'm going de Paul.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay. I have McAllister on the left, Fernandes on the right. That's how I'm going on this one. Yeah. I want Neymar to be attacking, feeding balls through. Fernandes playing his really good ball retention role and also defending as well. And McAllister being that high IQ, creating a very smart left side alongside Tagliafico, which we saw thrive in the World Cup. Guys like Paredes, I just couldn't really come around. Casemiro, I think, has dropped a little bit in his quality overall right now at Manchester United. Getting a little older. Yeah. And De Paul, I think, is an interesting option too, because we saw what he has to offer in the midfield for Argentina, which is honestly so much. Emotionally, he's like a coach on the field for them, and he can play a really pivotal role for an offense. I could flip out maybe McAllister and Guimaraes if you like, but I do think Enzo has to find a way into this team, because I think he's one of the best playing center midfielders right now in world football, with the way he started the season and the way that he finished last season as well.
For me, it came down to Bruno Guimaraes and Enzo Fernandez, and I went with Bruno simply because of recent form. I mean, he's doing incredible things with Newcastle, box-to-box midfielder, but has absolute class on the ball. Can switch it, can switch it. Excellent distribution, pretty good off the pass. Right now, Enzo's playing at a very high level too, but I just think the situation with Chelsea just doesn't really help him. Not that it's necessarily his fault, but I don't think he can play at the highest level that he needs to. And I would rather have Bruno in that position. I go De Paul because I need somebody defensive if I'm starting Neymar, and I can't go McAllister because of that. For me, it'd just be way too offensive to have Neymar and McAllister on at the same time, and so I have to go defensive. So it came down between De Paul and Casemiro. And for what you said about Casemiro, I just can't have him in there because his form has dropped a little bit. And I think that Paul, as you already said, gives so much for both Atletico and Argentina. The perfect box-to-box midfielder, has so much grit in that midfield. Was actually pretty good on the ball too. So yeah, that's why I have my front three in the way it is, or my mid three the way it is.
Let's do this, and let's have Neymar up top. Let's have Guimaraes on the left, replacing what I would say is McAllister. I would ask for a rotation between De Paul and Fernandes, because I see Fernandes as a hybrid almost. He can do the defensive work, and he also has a very good offensive arsenal to play with as well. And I just have more reliance on him over De Paul specifically to just completely show out, because he's doing things for this Chelsea midfield right now that's in dire need of Enzo Fernandez, and he's doing it at a very high level. One of the best players for them, despite how bad they've been playing. Rotate De Paul for Fernandes, and I'd be a happy man.
I can definitely do that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Do it. Okay, we move up forward. Up top. Names galore.
Yeah,
Let me have a
dude.
little fun here. I might need a good 10 minutes to list off the names. Guys such as Di Maria, who's actually off to a really good start with Benfica. 5 goals in 6 games. The one and only Lionel Messi. Rodrigo at Real Madrid. Martinelli, who just scored against Manchester City. Vinny Jr., coming back from injury, playing so good. Nico Gonzalez, if you want to throw him in this conversation as well. Lauro Martinez, 10 goals already for Inter Milan. Julian Alvarez playing like the best Manchester City player right now, arguably. Gabriel Jesus, if you want to play him up front as well. Rafinha and Anthony. And so those are the names that you kind of have up top. Did I miss any? Is there anyone else I should mention as just, an offensive weapon for either one of these two teams?
Honestly, I don't think you did.
Let me start with this then. Let me propose this idea.
Stacked,
Let me propose this idea. And you don't tell me what you have. You just say agree or disagree.
Okay, I can do that.
Messi on the right, Vinny on the left.
Agree.
Okay, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I already know that I can live with the team that we put up now.
Yeah.
If that's what we have up for, I was worried you were going to say some shit like Martinelli or some bullshit. But I was like, let's go Messi. Let's go Vinny. Messi on the right, Vinny on the left. Now the discussion becomes who's in that middle slot? Who's that center forward, that striker? Do we pick a guy like Lauro Martinez, who is right now in terms of recency going the fuck off?
Oh, yeah.
Or a guy like Julian Alvarez, who I think would fit so well with Vinny Jr. on his left side, Messi on his right, and Neymar right behind him? Does Gabriel Jesus have that fluidity to keep that Brazilian centralism that we have going on right now? Does he find a role here? Ultimately, who is your pick for this specific spot?
This one was so tough for me, man. This was the hardest one for me to make a decision. I picked one, and then an hour later, I was like, I think I have to change it. And I did. I changed it, and who I have as my number 9.
Wait, who did you pick first? and then reveal who you changed it to.
Shit, man. Yeah, I actually had Gabriel Jesus first. I had him first. And it was simply because he's done so much for Arsenal the last 2 years. So clinical, so versatile as well. I mean, the handles that man has as a number 9 is ridiculous. But the reason why I moved him was just because I realized I was like, he's just not consistent enough for me. And honestly, I don't even think it's his fault. He's just always injured, intermittently. And I think that's going to affect his career, his legacy. And yeah, ultimately, because of that, I can't trust him. I can't fully
trust Jesus,
him.
bro?
I can't fully do it. And so I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely have to change it. And for as amazing and as hot as Lautaro Martinez has been, I just have to put Julian Alvarez.
Let's go.
I have to.
Let's go.
He's just too adaptable.
Yes.
And ridiculously good on the ball. He can play with any type of winger, and he'll figure it out. But not only that, like, his passing ability is ridiculous. Like, he low-key could play a number 10 position if you needed him to. He'd have no problem doing it. He could also play out wide. He's so versatile in that aspect. But what gets me about Alvarez even more, though, is that he's cold. Yeah. He's ridiculously cold. When the pressure's really, really high, I've seen both Jesus and Martinez kind of fold under that pressure.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen Alvarez fold yet. Not yet. And so until he does, I have Alvarez as my starting number 9.
Yeah, for me, this argument, like you, was a nightmare to deal with because it's just Martinez, the way he started off the season is so insane with Inter Milan. And he's been playing so well. But when I really think about what this team needs, right? If you have Neymar right behind them, if you have Messi on the right, if you have Vinny on the left, these are guys that are already born to score goals. They don't actually really need a striker. They need someone that can, if anything, find a way to just form chemistry with them, form a really positive dynamic. I don't think they need an absolute clinical finisher the way that Martinez is. I think they need more a guy like Alvarez who can shift roles with these guys if needed, can play any sort of position ultimately if that's what's asked of him, and can be so versatile, so smart. And what did we see happen during the World Cup, man? Lautaro Martinez went cold, and Scaloni ended up putting in Julian Alvarez slowly, giving him more and more minutes throughout the tournament. Eventually seeing him score 4 goals in the World Cup and being Messi's go-to scorer outside of Di Maria. So it's already been kind of this problem has already been kind of figured out on the international level between Martinez and Julian Alvarez, in my opinion. And so for me, I think it's Alvarez, and I legit get excited at the idea of Alvarez being accompanied by Messi, Vinny, and Neymar behind him. That's a ridiculous front line. Now let's pick the rightful coach to lead these guys to victory. We have a very tight matchup here between Lionel Scaloni and Fernando Diniz, the ex-Fluminense coach who right now is taking care of Brazil until hopefully Carlo Ancelotti comes and takes over.
Right.
I mean, what's to discuss here? One of the most clear-cut matchups. Scaloni gets my pick all day.
Yeah, and you already kind of mentioned why we're going with Scaloni. His ability to, mid-tournament, adapt to the players that were hot and actually play them. That ability is why Scaloni is one of the best international coaches right now.
Best in the world, would you say?
I would say best in the world. Because, dude, most coaches don't do what Scaloni did. They really don't. He recognizes, like, oh, shit. Enzo, Julian, and then Di Maria at certain points, he's like, y'all are on a vibe right now. Y'all are starting next week, boys.
Enzo didn't start the tournament.
He didn't.
He like started shining throughout it as well.
Exactly.
Damn, yeah, he did it for almost every part of the offense. Crazy.
It's pretty nuts. And so that ability makes Scaloni one of the best coaches. So Scaloni would be a hell of a coach for this team.
And so now we figure out where this magical team is going to play at. Lastly, the stadium. I think for Brazil, there's only one true selection that can represent their nominee, which is El Maracanã, the biggest stadium in Brazil, one of the biggest in South America, and if not one of the biggest in the Americas overall, rivaling, I think, just El Azteca, I think, in terms of size, capacity. Yeah. But for Argentina, I actually want to have a mini discussion here. Who do we choose as the nominee to be elected to face off against El Maracanã? Is it La Bombonera, Boca Juniors Stadium, or is it Estadio Monumental where River Plate plays at?
Yeah, what's crazy about this is I see this decision as clear-cut as the coaching one. It's going to Maracanã.
Wait.
No, it's going to Maracanã. I'm not even nominating Argentine stadiums, bro.
We don't want to talk about which one is a better one to represent Argentina, man, because they're so distinct in style.
For me, Argentine stadiums are more cultural than they are iconic, whereas the Brazilian stadiums, and even beyond the Maracanã, like, they're beautiful.
Massive, bro. It's massive.
They're beautiful stadiums. Argentina, unfortunately, just don't really have state-of-the-art stadiums. They just don't. And, maybe that's attributed to the economic situation. It's not really their fault. And instead of having state-of-the-art stadiums, they just surround it with culture and passion, right? Sure. Which is why the Bombonera and the Monumental are what they are. It's not because of the legend of it. Yeah. And so for that, it makes the decision incredibly easy. There's not a single Argentine stadium that compares to the Maracanã.
I completely agree. Completely. I just wanted to have a little fun because obviously Maracanã is going to run this. The Maracanã is going to run this, right? It's going to run it. It's an incredible stadium with just as much history as La Bombonera and Monumental. Maracanã has that as well on top of it. Mm-hmm. The size is massive. It's just huge. And yes, I'm going Maracanã, but I do just want to have a discussion because I want to know where you stand on it personally. It's going to be a personal decision. Bombonera or Monumental, because I do find them to be very different type of stadiums within very close range of each other. Because La Bombonera is very tight, very compact. The lighting I really love about how games look at La Bombonera specifically. It looks like a big stage. And then the style, the design of the stadium is unique and how they shaped it, I believe, like a box of chocolates intentionally, and thus it got the name La Bombonera. Estadio Monumental, I think, is very different. It's almost like a Maracanã. It's almost like a Rose Bowl, for example, in terms of just being a big, grand arrangement of seats that just goes super, super long. When River Plate fans fill it up, it looks packed, it looks full, it looks intimidating, it looks absolutely beautiful. It looks monumental. And so, personally, I've always wondered, which one do you prefer between both of them? Because for me, I'm a Bombonera guy.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick between those two, personally, as if I'm going and I'm going to Argentina, I only get to go to one, then I think it's Bombonera simply because of the very unique feature it has. It looks nuts on television, man. It doesn't look normal. Like, there's not a single stadium in the world like it because of that weird one-dimensional wall that's on that one side of the stadium. Like, it makes it just look weirdly tight and packed because of that. And so I would love to experience that over what I could get at a Rose Bowl. I go to Brazil and get the Maracanã. I could get a somewhat similar experience, maybe not culturally, but stadium-wise I could. So that's why I would go Bombonera over Monumental. I just think Yeah.
And so this magical team that we have selected will be coached by Lionel Scaloni and will be playing their games at the Maracanã. This is a super team, bro. It's a dream team right here.
It's a crazy team.
Crazy team. Let us know in the comments what you guys think, which picks we got right, which ones we got wrong, and let us know what your combined Brazil and Argentina 11 looks like. Till next time, guys, we'll catch you. Peace.